Now, we're talking now about one of the UK's most successful female singers.
Have yourself a merry little Christmas. Let your heart be light.
Oh, of course, it's Susan Boyle, a huge success, but someone who's publicly struggled with fame. And now, thanks to a brave admission, we know why. Susan's revealed this week that she has Asperger's syndrome, and since her diagnosis a year ago, she says she's been learning to manage her condition alongside a demanding career. Not easy, but just what does that involve? Well, I'm joined now by Sarah Hewitt, who was diagnosed with Asperger's when she was 26, and she's here with Dr. Hilary. Thank you for coming in. And 26, I mean, when Susan was diagnosed, you know, she's in her 50s, her early 50s, that's late. But 26 is late as well. And I guess it just means that when you're growing up, you know there's something not quite right, but you don't know what it is. It must have been very difficult.
Yes, it was difficult, but as you say, I didn't know what the difficulties were.
Yeah.
So it was good to discover eventually that there was a reason for it, and importantly, because there was a reason for it, it meant it was possible for me to find strategies and learn how to deal with it.
And what sort of coping strategies then did you learn and that you use and presumably still use?
Well, a number of different things really. So small talk, learning how to make small talk with people. This is very, very helpful in the workplace.
Of course.
And I think I had to learn I had to learn how to maintain appropriate eye contact, because for a long time I didn't realise people thought I was being very standoffish or being rude because I wasn't looking at them, or I would give across the impression I was bored, and that wasn't the case at all. But obviously this can be a bit of a problem in the workplace, say, when you're supposed to be engaging with people and of course making people feel as though you're making them feel interesting.
I can completely understand that, and that must be very difficult because that's just something that we know to do. You know, we learn it, don't we, Hilary? We just do.
Yes.
Yeah,
but if you
non-verbal cues.
Yeah, exactly. But if you've got Asperger's, you have to learn small talk. You're absolutely right. You have to learn eye contact. You have to be taught these things and always have them at the forefront of your mind. Do you think with Susan talking about this now, it will help other people? Do you think it's a good thing?
Absolutely. I mean, I think it's very important for people to have a role model, and I think clearly she's been extraordinarily successful in her career. And I think we need to see more people on the spectrum with Asperger's syndrome, but with all kinds of disabilities.
Exactly. That exactly makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
And you live a very, very normal life. Married, very happy, good job.
It is possible, yes.
No, but you are, because I think sometimes people think, oh gosh, it's something to do with autism, therefore they maybe don't understand it as much.
Yes,
perhaps.
on quite a number of occasions when people have heard, or when I've told them I have Asperger's syndrome, I get reactions like, oh no, how awful, or even on other occasions, people thinking, surely not, you look perfectly normal. And I think we really need to do something to start busting these myths that there is a type of person who has Asperger's syndrome, because I think the stereotype really...
Well, you've just proved that there isn't one. Don't you agree, Hilary?
Absolutely.
There isn't.
Absolutely. I mean, it's fascinating about Susan Boyle coming out and saying, you know, she was diagnosed with this, because, you know, when we look back and we remember Amanda Holden's face and Simon Cowell's face when she was on stage, having been so socially inept and saying such almost inappropriate things. The shock on their faces when she came out with this wonderful singing was in huge contrast to the way she was perceived socially by everybody else. So that social inappropriateness, that sort of rather frankness, that in a way rudeness, as it's interpreted, was very interesting. But she had this talent which has remained dormant for all those years because she'd been dismissed by the rest of society. And that's exactly what Asperger's is. This is about lack of social communication skills, failure to socially integrate, failure to maintain relationships because other people don't really understand what's going on in that person. But as we've seen, as Sarah said, with the right coping strategies and the right help and support, people can lead very happy and
of course they
fulfilling
can.
lives.
You've proved that. You really have.
And
Thank you
usually
so
with
much.
above average intelligence too, aren't
Well, that's the thing, and as we saw, but no, but as we saw with Susan, very, very talented, very artistic also.
Absolutely.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
You can't.
Well,
generalise.
yes, I mean,
You can't generalise.
we're not all savants, and
No,
not
indeed.
everyone has a photographic memory, but
It's all these perceptions
we're
that
pretty
are,
normal people.
Exactly. Well,
on the
you've
whole.
proved that. Thank you so much for coming in, and thank you,
You're
Hilary,
welcome.
as always.
Thank you.
And after the break, introducing the band of sisters.